back.
Hey, glad to be back.
Welcome back, Ian, to the Ground Pass podcast. If you've been listening for a while, audience, you all know Ian. He is 40 Love on Instagram. And I think it's every Grand Slam now so far. We've come and we've discussed the looks, the kits.
Are we, we've got a streak going here? I know we talked.
We did French Open.
Yeah.
And we did US Open.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And at Wimbledon, everyone wears white. So I don't know what we talk about.
Because I was going to say, I don't remember if we did like a Wimbledon one, but
no, we haven't done Wimbledon, but maybe we will broach Wimbledon this year. How are you? What's going on?
Good. Busy. Yeah. I work in tennis too. So it's just been, everybody Grand Slam. I feel like it's all hands. Everybody's working like crazy. So yeah, it's been busy. Very, very, very short off season, if you can even call it that. I feel like that's, the point that everybody hammers home every single year. It only seems to be getting shorter, even though people are complaining. I think I saw something like 4 days and a few hours difference between the last point at the next gen finals and the start of the new season. So, no rest for us, us podcasters, us tennis fans. But I got to say, Australian Open being back, I am like, a moth to the flame. I'm like, yep, I'm out there every night. I'm falling asleep on the couch. I'm on my third night in a row, having slept on the couch, waking up, at the 12, for me, midnight or last night, the matches I wanted to see were at 1:30 in the morning. So yeah, as much as we all, complain about the schedule and how crazy it is, here I am again. So
yeah, here we are again. I think last night I kind of hit a wall. I was talking, so we have a mutual friend, Tony, right? He was on the podcast a few days ago, and we were discussing how I think, at least in the States, West Coast time is the perfect time for the tennis, because I hit a wall. And for me, the tennis starts right about now. So it starts at like 7:30, and then it just goes till, I wake up to the tennis. It'll be 5 a.m. in the morning and it's still going on. So it's been pretty rough, but I did get some sleep last night. So I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling much better.
Yeah, I got to listen to some of the podcasts that you did with my buddy Tony, and I heard you guys talking about that. And yeah, it's nice. I mean, if you have like a kind of a 9 to 5 schedule, the matches start around 4 p.m. here. So you kind of just like, you're tuning out of work for the day. You start tuning into tennis. So that does work out. It's when you've got one of the better matches, one of the late like marquee matches where you have to make a decision. You go, well, do I go to bed at 8 p.m. and then wake up at midnight? Or do I try to, stick it out and wait, as late as you can there and then risk falling asleep during a good match? So I've been doing this thing where I'm wrapping up work. I start watching 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. If my eyes start to close, I say, this is probably good. Good time to take a nap. Wake back up. So
power nap and wake back up for the tennis.
Exactly. I did that last night. What were the 2 matches last night that I had to stay up for? I had to stay up for Fonseca Rublev, of course.
I woke up to that and I was like, perfect timing, because I went to sleep so early. I was able to just wake up when that was starting. So that was excellent.
Yeah.
Before we dive in, I just have to mention, because if you're watching the news, if you know what's going on in California, I mean, I think you are not in the area where the fires are right now in California, correct?
No, fortunately, we are about an hour and a half north. We were subject to some of the red flag warnings. Tuesday night was terrifying. We didn't have any fires. Basically, what we experienced up here was just, extreme winds, some wind damage. The streets around here are taking a while to clean up. But yeah, nothing compared to what the people in Los Angeles County are going through. We've got some friends and people affected, and it's just mind blowing. Fortunately, we're good up here. That's LA is near and dear to our hearts. So it's definitely affecting a lot of people we know.
Yeah, thinking of all of our friends who have been affected by the fires and the winds in LA and California. And I know you've posted some resources on 40 Love on Instagram. I will leave also some resources in the show notes of this podcast. So please, if you can help in any way, they need it. They need it there right now. But yeah, hopefully we can give you some relief here with a little chat about the fashion. Later on in this podcast, we will just touch on what's going on in Australia. We'll do like a quick recap where we're at. Matches have already started right now as we're recording, but we are going to do our regular fashion breakdown of the looks that are coming out of the Australian Open in 2025. Now, I have decided to try out technology, and let's just cross our fingers and hope that the technology works. I'm going to start a screen share and hope for the best.
Okay, let's do it.
If you are listening to this, by the way, and it's up on your podcast feed, I would suggest that you go to our YouTube where I will post this video, and you can follow along with our little presentation. Just in general, how have you been enjoying the looks in Australia? Do you think this is an up year or a down year?
You know, I would say there's not too many outfits that just outright offend me. You know, like there's some bad looks, but there aren't too many that I'm just like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? So from that sense, I would say, I guess an up year, because usually it's a little bit of a mixed bag. You've got the one or two brands that are doing something right. You've got the people in the middle, and then you've got people that continue to regress tennis fashion into oblivion. And that's not happening right now. I think people talk tennis fashion. I mean, you know, I started 40 Love 5-6 years ago, and there weren't too many people talking about tennis fashion at the time. And now there's so many channels discussing it. There's so many, you know, I see it on Tennis Warehouse, like forums. I see it on Reddit. It's a big topic of conversation. And I think the brands have started to listen and started to pay more attention too. So I think we're seeing it. It's maybe, you know, it's still not amazing. I don't think there's too many, like, you know, I'm not saying that we're there yet, right? Tennis fashion to me isn't back all the way, but we're moving in the right direction.
Okay. So how we're going to do this is I have a slideshow here. We're going to go through every single brand and just talk through them briefly. And then at the end, we're going to come back with our faves, our not so hots, and what we hope these brands can do or continue to do. So, okay, let me blow this up so that we can all see it. Slideshow. Nike. Let's start with Nike.
Yep.
So, I mean, Nike is one of the biggest brands in general in sports. And of late, they haven't been doing anything sort of fun or crazy in tennis. I think with the return of Naomi Osaka, she's kind of been, you know, she designs her own outfits with Nike. So she's kind of been pushing that forward a bit. And this year, it's kind of a mixed bag. I think I have a little photo here of these sort of like jackets and, you know, personalized things that Nike have done for Aryna Sabalenka and Yannick Sinner, who are the winners of last year's Australian Open. And this was, I think, during the draw ceremony, they had these little like personalized things. What do you think in general of what Nike is doing right now?
There's a lot to say. In general, like blanket term, it's bad. I don't like the colors. There seems to be, I mean, just looking at this and looking at their marquee athletes, there's a lack of consistency. And you kind of, you're like, well, what are the colors for this year or for this Australian Open? What is the theme that you're going with here? You've got 6 different people on screen here that are kind of the faces of Nike right now, and they're all wearing something completely different. And it's so that's a miss to me. I don't like the colors. Like Wilson did the tennis ball yellow back at the US Open and they crushed it. And then Nike's doing this tennis ball yellow, but it's like kind of sewery, pukey looking. It's like,
it's not it's off. It's like they almost didn't commit. You know?
Yeah. And then you add it with
some of the highlighter yellow.
Yes. And then you have some of these other colors here. Like, it's just not, there's nothing consistent about it. I still think Sabalenka needs her own personal line. I'm not, loving what I'm seeing on Yannick Sinner. He's got his logo now. Cool. But it's just seems a little scattershot. And I don't like anything here that I'm looking at, except for probably Naomi Osaka.
Right. Yeah, I do like what Naomi is wearing. She does, I think this year it's a little bit subdued, but there was a theme. I think the photos I don't have here are these like little sunflowers that she has on like the tongue of her shoe, and they're like clips in her hair. She was wearing like little sunflower earrings. Like there was like a theme going on with that. So I always like that she does that. But you're right. Like there are just so many different tones and colors, and the things that is missing here that I didn't put on was what Emma Raducanu.
Yes.
Emma Raducanu was wearing.
Yeah, Raducanu.
And it's basically Wimbledon white.
Yes.
As far as I
and
can
Jack
tell.
Draper are basically at Wimbledon already. They're wearing all white. Yes, it's confusing.
Yeah, so it's just really confusing. And there was a look that they did with Katie Bolter that kind of matches what Carlos Alcaraz is wearing in terms of color. But it's like a skirt shirt. In fact, I have to like stop sharing right now and find it and show you, because it was the one thing that they did that I was kind of like, that's an idea. And I kind of liked it. So here it is. And let me know what you think, because I almost think they should have gone with this in general, but they didn't. And I was like, okay, that's great. But this is what Katie Bolter is wearing. And it's a skirt. So, and I like these like sort of like the borders at the end. So I didn't hate this look. And I think it kind of matches what Carlos is wearing. But again, like we've been saying, they kind of just are everywhere. They're just everywhere.
Yeah, this is the Katie Bolter's looks a good look. I like the skirt that she has on a lot better. Yeah, that if that was kind of the line and the look that they went for, you know, and she's wearing the tennis ball yellow shoes, I think it accents the Australian Open colors really well. Unfortunately, that's just, you know, one of 18 different outfits you're seeing out there for Nike.
Yeah, it literally is kind of like just the female version of what Carlos is wearing, like the tennis ball yellow shoes, and then, you know, those sort of like greeny colors. Yeah. Nike's all over the place. Hopefully they can find their way sometime soon, because people are taking their lunches. And now we jump to Wilson.
Yes. Always the highlight.
You know, they have a vision. They have an idea. They have it's definitely going for the red that kind of matches their racket bags a little bit. Peyton Stearns, unfortunately, she is out of the tournament. She lost her first round match, but I see her here. I found this actually on her Instagram. She's wearing this black version, and I was like, oh, is that the night kit? Like, that would be cool. But I mean, what else can we say about Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times we've talked tennis fashion, we just kind of end up lauding Wilson and what they're doing. You know, I just want to go out there and say I was team wear more red last year. I said it at the start of the year. I wrote it down too. So I've got proof of this. We do this, you know, this like group thing with friends where we like write down like the ins and outs of 2020, you know, the new year. And I specifically said that I wanted to buy more red so that I had a full amount of red stuff to put in the wash together, basically. But I'm into red. I love the look. It's actually a theme kind of across the Australian Open this year, but the Wilson stuff is the standout for sure. All the little subtle lines, even just looking at Peyton Stearns' skirt there with the red line that kind of goes over the waist. That's the little touches that make a really big difference. And then, you know, when you're talking head to toe athletes like this, yeah, you've got the Wilson. I think they call it infrared, I think don't quote me on that, but I think their Wilson red is called infrared, and they, you know, it's head to toe. They've got it on the hats. They've got it on the shoes. It's all the way throughout. And those little tiny details is what really makes it stand out, even down to the scrunchie that Kostyuk has.
Yeah. You know, it's so stark when you go from a brand that is everywhere to one that is so focused, and you can tell. And that's what they are. The cuts, even though Kostyuk is wearing a dress and Peyton's kind of wearing sort of like a sports bra with a skirt, you can just see the cut of the top of it. It matches. Like, these are like the little details that I think Wilson right now is crushing. They still are. And I'm always excited to see what their athletes are wearing during tournaments.
Well, here's the tough question then before you switch over to the next one.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer, Kostyuk's outfit or Peyton Stearns? Which one are you trying to rock? Which one, who wore it best?
Kostyuk. Always.
Okay. Yeah.
Her dress is always just perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. She crushes it.
she crushes the dress. And I think I'm just also more of sort of a dress than a two-piece person, unless the bottom is shorts. The bottom's shorts, kind of like in the black look that we see here, I can get on board. So that's kind of a little quirk I have. But if we're picking faves here, I'm going with Caustic's red dress. And you're right, red's definitely the color this year.
Yeah.
And speaking of red, Adidas said, now you say red is the color of 2025. We're going to go all in.
Yeah.
All in. Maroon, red, pink. We got you.
Yeah. That's what they're doing.
It's not bad. Here's the thing with Adidas that I actually like. From afar, I think if you just look at their stuff, it's like, oh, okay, cool. That's a red dress, maroon shorts, pink top, that sort of thing. What gets lost in translation, I think, when you just see it on court or from far away is the details in the fabric that they have. And you can kind of see it really in this photo. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the variety. I especially like it when they do it at Wimbledon, because Wimbledon's all white. So it's like, what can you do? And Adidas is always good for making these sort of like intricate patterns on the fabric that give it a little something. But what are your general thoughts on Adidas?
Yeah, I, for the first time in a long time, don't find the Adidas stuff completely offensive. I'm team red. I'm all in on it too. I'm glad that people are rocking red. I think it looks really good on court. It's a little boring. Like when you look at the Adidas stuff and then you compare it back to back with the Wilson, you say, well, what's this missing that the Wilson stuff has? And it's all those little subtle details. Yes, if you look up close on the stitching and some of the design and the actual like porousness of the shirts and the garments, they'll do like patterns and stuff like that. It's always a little abstract, and I'm kind of just like do lines, like stripe it or something like that. I don't know that I need it to be like an abstract pattern, but in general, I think it's pretty good. Looking at Felix's shirt there, like that quarter zip thing, I find that annoying when I play. I've played with a few of the things with the quarter zip, and that kind of seems to be the thing instead of like a classic button Henley. I'd like to see brands go back to a button Henley personally. Zverev with the sleeveless, talk about things that are, in for 2025, seeing a lot more sleeveless shirts, which I know some of my 40 Love fan base and some of the old school tennis heads they're like, they hate that. So it's always going to be a love hate. Yeah. And then I would say like on the women's side, I think Pegula looks fantastic. I thought Mukova looked great too. What I don't like is Adidas is still doing that weird cutout sleeve part. Not on the tanks, but on some of the other ones. I think Mukova's, it's got that weird hole. And I'm just like, what are we doing? What player said, yeah, I want that?
I don't know. And we need to find them and tell them to stop, please. I don't have any photos of it here, probably because I think actually this Adidas collection is kind of cohesive and, I enjoy it. It's not, there's been like some fit issues that I've had with Adidas, like when they had that skirt, the blue and white and black, like skirt thing that they did. I don't know if that was US Open or what it was, but I really like this, except for that top with the weird cutout sleeve thing. And I'm just like, I cannot deal. I can't deal with that, but yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning too, before we move off of Adidas, Hercash switched to Adidas. He's wearing a different outfit. I've seen a couple other players wearing a white top with the red. I think that looks better personally than like the maroon with the red. And what's kind of tying it together for them this year that is working for these outfits is the entire new lineup of the Adidas shoes are kind of nice. Like, I don't want to say they're like Jordan-esque, but they are, because it's the black, white, and red. And that's the theme for all of the Barricades, the Ubersonics. So definitely shout out to Adidas on the shoes. The shoes are kind of looking like Jordans right now with the colors, and it's tying the outfits together a lot better.
Nice. Yeah, they had that whole thing with Dimitrov in the shoe announcement. That was definitely a moment.
The
New Balance.
Mm-hmm.
New I don't want to jump ahead. I think they're winning. We'll talk about everybody else, but I think New Balance came to play at the Australian Open, and they were like, we will win whatever prize you guys are giving out for fashion. We're going to win it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm partial to the look on the left of the screen here that they teased with Tommy Paul wearing the blue and the white, and there's some striping there on the socks and on the collar. I'm partial to that. I think that looks better than the other stuff. I don't dislike. I actually have it on some of my like best dressed is the New Balance, and that includes Coco Gauff too.
Yes.
The New Balance stuff that's in the more Australian colors here that Jordan Thompson's wearing and Tommy Paul's wearing. It's I've seen, I think maybe Tony actually compared it to Ray Gun from the Olympics.
Okay.
The breakdancing. And if it's inspired by, that's kind of a good move. I think that's funny. But the colors are Australia and the lines are good. The silhouettes are good. So I'm a fan of that. And I don't know if we're going to talk Coco Gauff's outfit, but that is definitely a standout. Well, she's making waves. Her outfit last year at Australian Open was one of the standouts too. And similar to Osaka, like she's kind of making waves with this outfit, and it's an open back. And she was even describing how difficult it was to get in and out of, which is funny. But it's, New Balance has a sporting icon on their hands right now, and they're kind of letting her, wear outfits that are unique to her. And she said she's loving what she's wearing. So, I've always said, if you feel good in what you're playing in, then you usually play better too. So.
Yeah. And, I just loved, it was after her match, she kind of, ran down like the design, the inspiration behind the design. She did a show and tell on her Instagram, which I think it was in story, so it might be gone, but she literally did a show and tell of how she goes to the bathroom, which was hilarious.
I heard about that.
It was so hilarious. It's like, I think this might be too TMI, but yeah, I think it's so well thought out. I found the photos, which I'm going to like overlay over the other ones that we have, and I will share it now because it is worth looking at it. It's just so well thought out. She likes cargo pants, so she wanted the skirt to kind of emulate that. I don't know. Like, what did you think about that interview she did? Did you watch that interview? Did you see it?
Which one?
On court. The one she did on court. After her first round win.
No, I don't. I might have gotten clips of it, but no, I don't think I saw it.
Yeah, but it was just great. Like, it's such a well thought out story. And with fashion, I love a story behind it. She wanted to do the cutouts and the backlist because it made her feel like it looked like what a superhero would wear. And
yes, that's the quote that I saw, is that she was comparing it to that. Yeah.
And, so there was that. And then she likes cargo shorts. So all these, like, there's like a little pocket here that's a fake pocket. And like on the skirt, there's a button, but it's a fake button to sort of emulate what cargo shorts look like. I don't know. It was so well thought out. And even though, throwing it back to Nike, we're so sorry, Nike, but you're not doing it right. Even though this is a custom look to her, it still has the green colors that all the other New Balance athletes are wearing. So it looks cohesive to the whole collection.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's sharp. And the shoes are fantastic. I saw.
Yeah. The shoes are great.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for green and white. That's like half my wardrobe. But when I saw some of the pictures of that, I was like, I might need to get some New Balance.
Yeah. I've been looking at the Coco Gauff shoes for a long time because I like a high top, and these sort of like emulate like a little bit of like a basketball shoe high top. And I saw this green and white and I was like, this might be it. This might be it.
Yeah, they look really nice.
A little note actually on this outfit and something that Coco Gauff said on court, because what comes up a lot with these looks is you can't find them in stores. Can't find them anywhere. And you're just like, people get excited about the look that they see on their favorite tennis player, but then can't really then go purchase that look. And Coco Gauff said on court that they're working on it, and this might be the first outfit that's going to be available for people to buy, which I think is great. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's great. I mean, yeah, the days that, there weren't too many tennis fashion icons for the last, 20, 30 years, but I'll never forget, like, Roger Federer would come out in like a new Nike zip up, new color. And while it wasn't the most exciting thing in the world, people wanted to be like him. And you'd try to find it after the tournament, and either it wasn't available anywhere or it would sell out immediately. So
yeah.
Tennis fashion's back, so it's nice to see the brands starting to bring it to market.
I was so excited when they entered the scene. I was like, oh, wow, a new brand coming in. And they immediately picked a roster of athletes that I thought, I felt like they nailed it. Iga, Ben Shelton, Joao Fonseca, they were like ahead of the curve with picking these athletes. And then what was that? A year, 2 years ago? And all we see is the variation of the exact same ombre over either white or black. What's happening? What's going on?
Yeah. It's not, I don't know. There's not much to say because not much has changed. Now they've added a little accent of yellow, which I don't think looks very good. I think they've added new shoes to the lineup, and I think the shoes, the shape of them look nice. The designs look nice, but it hasn't changed much. And it's just not exciting. There's not much to say.
Okay. Going to keep that moving. Fila. Okay. So Fila was a brand that during the US Open, it almost like they burst into my radar, at least, with that sort of striped look. Fila was never a brand that I even paid attention to. And that look really got me excited for what they could do in tennis. And then we have this, and I don't know how, I'm not wowed. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They just went back to the dress and the, what other brands are doing. Like, they lost that originality a little bit.
Yeah, they kind of put all their chips into one basket with the US Open and some of that throwback stuff with the, the pinstriping, the look from the 70s and the 80s with Bjorn Borg. I mean, that is their bread and butter. That's what put them on the scene for tennis, and that is the best that they've done. And it's like they put all their chips in one basket with the US Open, and then they just went back to kind of what they've always been doing. Yeah, not exciting. Again, no real consistency color-wise. I think there's a few other athletes that are under their belt too, maybe like Lee too, and they're just not wearing anything exciting. Just not good.
Yeah. Okay. Lululemon, I think of all the brands this year at the Australian Open, almost they're kind of announcing themselves on the scene. Lululemon they've sponsored Leylah Fernandez for a long time. And she's kind of, I don't even know if there's any other. We've always kind of said Adrian Manarino, he wears Lululemon, but I don't think that was sponsored. I just think he likes the kind of like yoga shirt.
And if they offered him a sponsorship, I don't even know that he would take it. He doesn't care.
Exactly. So it's really been, Leylah Fernandez.
They had Jack Sock, but then Jack Sock went and played pickleball. So
there we go. Okay, so he's not in the conversation anymore. But they made a big signing, which we'll talk about. Frances Tiafoe, definitely, for sure. We'll get into that. I just also want to mention the photo I don't have here is, along with signing Tiafoe, they also signed Ethan Quinn, who's a new sort of, he's up and coming, is on the Challenger circuit. He just played a final against Joao Fonseca at a Challenger in Australia. So he's definitely on the scene, and he was just signed as well to Lululemon. But the big news 100% was Tiafoe,
Yeah.
What do you think of this signing and their kind of like foray into tennis?
Yeah. I think the stuff that Leylah's been wearing has looked good on her. They've picked good colors. I'm not a big fan of this top that she has on, to be honest with you. It's the stuff that she is wearing in the past that had more of the rounded U shape. I don't really like this square halter look.
Yeah.
I like the color. I think the color's nice. It's not hot pink. It's not light pink. when I heard that Tiafoe was being signed by Lululemon, I thought, and I wish I had posted this before it was made official, but I said, is it 10 out of 10 chance it's going to be a pink, because he looks so good in the color pink.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to be right about that. But I texted a buddy of mine who works at Lulu, and I was like, wow, like that's a huge win for you all. Little inside scoop, I guess, and I doubt she'll mind me saying this, but he just, Nike's been losing a lot of their athletes. They, a year or two ago, made an announcement really that they weren't going to be sponsoring anybody outside of a certain number, or they were going to start limiting that or whatever. I don't know what the verbiage was, but basically what I was told was that Tiafoe did not feel like he was, that they were promoting him as well as he should be. I mean, he's one of the biggest names in American tennis. His run in the US Open in the semifinals is one of the most exciting things I've watched in my lifetime for American tennis. He's a name, he's a household name, and a great story too. And for them to not showcase him as much as they're showcasing their other athletes, I guess, he felt like he could go somewhere where he'd get a little bit more respect, maybe a little bit more of an opinion in what he was wearing. So good move for him, good move for Lululemon as well. So.
Yeah. And, I didn't know the details, but I assumed that's what the details were. Because he should have almost as big a platform as a Yonex Sinner or as Carlos Alcaraz, because especially in the States, when he's playing, it's packed. I mean, they come for him. So if the brand that he's then wearing isn't on that level, it can kind of be difficult. Now, I didn't really include them in this, but K-Swiss, it seems like, are they making a comeback a little bit? Because we have Tiafoe here wearing K-Swiss shoes, and someone I did not put in any of the slides that we're going to look at is Andre Rublev, who has been wearing his individual brand, is now wearing K-Swiss.
Yeah.
With his brand. It's kind of, I think it's like a collaboration and stuff. So I guess K-Swiss is making a comeback in a way to tennis.
Yeah. I mean, I have not worn their tennis shoes personally. I know a couple of them that are pretty well regarded. They've had a couple, I'm always looking for things that are like very interchangeable. Like I can wear with almost any outfit and I think it'll look good. So I like to go for really simple looking shoes, and K-Swiss has had a couple in the past that I was like, oh, maybe I should check those out. I had a friend that used to work at K-Swiss, and he's not there anymore. And I've got some like old school K-Swiss. I have like Bryan Brothers 1994 K-Swiss, and like those are awesome. Those are incredible. So they started bringing back some of these like heritage shoes that are really iconic. And they're, more athletes seem to be, more tennis players seem to be wearing their shoes on court. So maybe they're somebody to watch in the future, maybe even in the apparel side. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm interested to see, because I think they said Tiafoe is just wearing the shoes for the Australian Open, but we'll see what happens there. Lacoste. I don't know what to say. Meh. I don't know what you think, but it just feels like most of their stuff now, it's kind of a little different, but same.
Yeah, well, you've got, Daniil kind of seems to always have his own outfits. Mm-hmm. Djokovic he just seems to only wear blue at the Australian Open. And
then red, and then he has his colors that he wears in different places. Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at like pictures from last year's Australian Open for work, and I was trying to find a nice picture of him, and I was like, well, he's wearing the same thing. It's like there's like slight differences, I guess. So I am not a fan. Lacoste was high on my list 3-4 years ago when there wasn't many options out there for good apparel, and now they're kind of going in the other direction for me on the men's side. And the best look that we have on screen here is probably Artur Fies and that polo. Dimitrov unfortunately retired in the first round. He wore a very similar one, which had pink on the sleeves instead of the blue. But what kind of killed it for me was he had this cap that didn't look good with it. The cap looked really weird. Cap. Very weird. It was like a cyclist cap. It was so strange.
Yeah.
And then, so he's wearing green and pink, which is very summery, maybe more Miami vibes than Australian Open vibes. with navy shorts and then red barricades. And I was like, that is fashion faux pas. You cannot have that many colors and not have a constant thread through your outfit. It just looked really, really bad. So somebody not on your screen here that I'll shout out, I think she's playing right now or later tonight, Erica Andreeva. It could fly at Wimbledon, all white, but it is very good.
Yes. I do remember that because I remember looking at her sweatbands and I saw the Lacoste crocodile and I was like, oh, she's rep by Lacoste. I should have put her in. And I'll probably insert pictures of the people we're talking about that are not included in the slides. I'll like pop them in somewhere. Yeah. Next up is ASICS. And with this specific brand, again, not one that I've paid attention to much except for their shoes, because if you're a beginner tennis player, I mean, most people just recommend ASICS tennis shoes. Like that's what you get. Mm-hmm. Specifically for this tournament, and I don't know how you feel. I feel like for the guys, it's tennis wear. It's fine. It's great. But then I really do not like what they have on their female athletes.
Yes, 100% agree. I wrote this down as well. I thought Demonar's outfit, I was like, that's not bad. It looks good on him. When Basafaretti was playing against Djokovic, I stayed up for that match. Good color, nice, like a dark purple. It was very simple. Don't mind it. But then you look at Bencic and Paolini here, and it is it's like depressing. I don't know how to describe. It's like a grayish purple with this light pink. It looks incredibly drab.
Yeah.
And I don't know like what it is about that color combination, but it just like it brings me down.
Yeah, it's almost like non-committal. It's like you see de Minaur's and it's like this really dark blue with like the orange accents and the white. Basafaretti's is a darker, more committed purple.
Yes.
And then for the girl, and this is what I think comes when maybe they were thinking, oh, let's go for the female color per se.
Which I hate. I hate that. I hate when brands do that.
And it's like, that's what it seems like they were doing with this sort of like, oh, lilac, but not real. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I used to talk to some people that worked at Sergio Tacchini, and I'm such a jerk. I would rip it apart when they had to have like the blue for boys and the pink for the girls. Yeah. And I'm like, are we over that yet? Can we stop with that? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah. I don't need the boys colors and the girls colors. Like let's get over that. In the design room, when they're designing this stuff and they're kind of picking their colors and they're like putting it up and taking a look at it. I don't know how you can look at this like gray. The purple looks more gray because of the pink that it's next to. And I think if anybody stood back and looked at that and felt any sort of emotion, like you're clinically insane, because I feel like the emotion is being sucked from my body looking at it. And I'm not saying like it's the worst thing in the world that I've ever seen. It's just like, it's so blah.
Yeah. Okay. ASICS, fix that, please. Yonex.
I love that. ASICS, fix that, please.
Please.
On to the next
one. Yonex.
Mm-hmm.
They do this sort of graffiti, graphic cutout color combination. Geometric. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. But they do this all the time, and this one I don't like. I'm specifically talking about the top that Elena Rybakina is wearing, but I think I can't remember now if the bottoms of the boys is the same.
I think you might have messaged me about this beforehand that you were like excited to talk about Yonex. I think Ruud practiced in the shorts that are matching Rybakina's top, and maybe he was like, absolutely not, because now he's just wearing I had to check. He's just wearing a plain red. Again, red, the theme of this year, the theme of Australian Open, paired with this kind of off-white, almost yellowish, but not, parchment maybe is the color you want to call it. I think what Ruud has on is good. It's on the theme of this, like red is in right now. Yeah. That top that Rybakina has on It's kind of headache inducing. So I'm not a fan. And thank goodness that Rude isn't wearing the shorts that look like that.
Yeah, you're right. He probably saw the photos and he was like, nah, not doing that.
Well, and I think, Yonex has been kind of, so they have new people who took over the apparel side of the business, and they've been on the up. Like, we've been talking about them in a really positive way lately. They've been doing apparel activations. They've got, they have on the racket side some really big names. Also, shout out Yonex. They did help me out with a local tennis event that I ran here. So this is in no way I don't want this to reflect negatively on them as a business. They've supported what I do. But they have been going for this kind of more of a vintage aesthetic lately. And I think when you look at Rudes, you see that in the colors. It almost looks as if you're looking at somebody wearing an outfit through like a sepia filter. And then you look at Rabakanas and you're like, those two, that's not part of the same collection almost. You're like, that one doesn't go with that one. But if you look at the Yonex off court of Rabakana, she's wearing that, she's wearing that parchment yellow. She's wearing like sweats and a zip up jacket with the red accents. So it looks more like what Casper is wearing here. And that looks fantastic. So big miss on the top, but they were going in the right direction, and then something happened when they got to the top design.
Something happened. They were like, let's spice it up, and they went too spicy. Too spicy.
Too spicy. Moving on.
Okay, so that's it for the big brands, but there are a whole bunch of other players in here that I kind of want to just touch on a little bit. Some are hits, some are misses. It's so good to see Kai Nishikori again. Mm-hmm. It's so, even if it's just for the Uniqlo, it's just like, it's so vintage. It's so, tennis I grew up with, that it's so nice to see him again and see Uniqlo on court again. Uniqlo is like a hit and miss. Some people like it. Some people don't like it.
I think that one's always going to be, I mean, this is all personal preference. I'm not a Uniqlo person. I'm kind of just like, I don't know, move it along. I don't know.
Yeah. You're like, we can get it in the store. You could probably get it in the store, Yeah. They're on it. They're like, we have that outfit.
Yep.
How do you say, I don't know if you know how to say
Uomo.
This brand which one?
Uomo.
Exact. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's what Brooksby is. Brooksby's back. Mm-hmm. Nice to see him back.
I think he barely won a game.
I think he just hasn't played competitive,
Yeah.
He's been practicing. I think I listened to this interview with Ben Shelton, and Ben Shelton was talking. So I listened to the interview before the match between Taylor Fritz and Brooksby. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Ben Shelton was like, it was the best practice I've ever had. Like, he was beating me. He had so much variety. So I'm expecting a complete, fireworks popcorn match, and it was a dud. I mean, it was so underwhelming. I was like, Shelton, what are you talking about?
Well, he played what?
You Fritz? Can't hype up a match and then
did he play Fritz in the first round though?
He played Fritz in the first round. Yeah. So he looks good.
Yeah, I mean, Uomo's nice. The quality of the material is really nice. Again, I'm a sucker for green and white. They're calling this Terra Earth Green. It's good. It's good. I've always pleaded, and hopefully somebody from Uomo hears this, like, make the shorts shorter. And then you were putting together an outfit that is something you would see back in the 70s. It's a good look. He looks good in it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is just a total side note, and I will insert a photo here, but with making the shorts shorter. So there was this thing, and I don't know if you saw it. It was video of Carlos Alcaraz practicing in what looked like basketball shorts is what they looked like. And the first photo they show, when he's warming up, just like sort of just hitting forehands and backhands. And then further on into the practice, he has rolled up the shorts and tucked them in, and they kind of look like diapers. But it was because they went too long. Yeah. They were just too long.
A friend that I know down in LA, somebody that I've, he's come up for a couple tennis events that we organize with the live ball crew. Steven, shout out Steven. he sent me that video or that video or picture or whatever. And I just laughed. I'm like, listen, as a proponent of short shorts, the rolling up is weird. Like he does it, Mahatch does it. And I'm like, if you want short shorts, just get shorter shorts. You don't have to tuck them in.
Just get shorter shorts.
So, the men's shorts have these liners in them, these little Joey pockets or whatever you want to call them. And I kind of pull my shorts up a little bit when I play too, but yeah, they're like rolling it up under that so that it doesn't hang down on their leg. And I'm like, just wear a shorter short. Like if you like it being higher because you don't want it hanging down when you're playing, which like I get as somebody who plays tennis, like I don't want them hanging that low. It bothers me when I'm like crouching and my movement and everything. Just wear a shorter short. You don't got to roll them up. Diaper, great call out. It looks like a diaper.
It looks like a diaper. But speaking of that, because I think a lot of people, they see the short thing and, it's either they think it's solely fashion or like, they just want to show off their legs. I don't know what it is. But on a separate note, Clara Tucson, who is with Adidas, this came up online where someone had posted a photo of her with her skirt tucked up into the sort of like little shorts that they wear underneath.
Uh-huh.
And, someone had just posted like, why do you have to do this? Like, it's so high up. And she posted, she replied to her. She's like, hey, I'm the player that you just posted a photo of with my skirt thing. I do that because it's more comfortable to move around the court without having a skirt flapping around in the wind and almost being distracting. And the boys, I feel like, do that at the same time. I think I have listened to an interview with Mahak where he says, it's short because it's easier for him to move around. I mean, watching him at the United Cup, he was like doing splits everywhere and like running around. And I can imagine that just makes it easier for them to move around the court more comfortably and not distracted with fabric,
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's different. I mean, I obviously can't speak from any experience with like the women's skirts versus shorts or, a skirt, but some of like the skirts, they're like so tight fitting. And I always just wonder how that works because I'm like, I know they got like the shorts, the liners underneath, but yeah, I mean, everybody's different. I don't want them hanging down on my legs. I've got friends that wear like long shorts still. And like this day and age, I don't know who's doing this, but who are like wearing long shorts and like the ball is like bouncing off their knee as they're running or pops out of their pocket. No. And I'm like, is that better? Like, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Okay, 4 more brands here. Ons is wearing this. It's like a brand, Canane, I think it's what it's pronounced. I can't remember what it's.
Yeah,
what the
I just saw that. I don't know what it is. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have no idea what it is.
It's a brand she started wearing a year ago. I want to say it's. I think it's a Saudi Arabia. Like, I think that's where it's made. It's either Saudi Arabia. It's definitely not from Tunisia. It's somewhere, in Saudi Arabia, that area. In fact, I'm going to find out exactly where and I'll leave all the descriptions. This is the best of the looks that they have put on her in recent times. And I just wanted to put that there because when she started wearing it, remember when she wore that kind of windbreaker, long, like flowing in the wind. I don't even know what that was. Like, is that a rain jacket? Is it a windbreaker? Like, what's happening? That was the first thing she wore from the brand. And I was not, enthusiastic about it. But this, I was kind of like, oh, they're kind of refining a little bit. I think they have the right idea. I just don't know yet proportions wise if the fit really works for On.
Yeah. So I just had to look this up because she dealt with a lot of injuries and she was off the tour a lot last year. So if she was wearing this last year, it totally flew over my head. I mean, I know she was with Lotto before that. Kayani, it says it's a Saudi fitness brand. Yeah. Yes. I'm seeing this picture that she has, in this raincoat thing or whatever. That looks nice. This outfit here, I saw this today and I kind of like zoomed in on the picture. I was like, what the hell is that brand? It's okay. Yeah, I think for them, it's going to be finding the outfits that everybody's a little different and the proportions are different and finding an outfit that's going to really kill for her. Like, I don't know. This one isn't amazing to me. I like the little like kind of faux collar. But yeah, it's okay. Looks a little soccerish. I don't know.
Right. Oh my, that's it. That's exactly it. It
Yeah.
looks soccer, even like with the little V and then the collar. Oh my gosh, that you nailed that. Yeah. Yeah. I did a faux pas here and kind of covered up Kokonaka's shorts, which is the main issue, the main thing about this outfit. And I will post a photo of it, but I really like his shorts. And, Cotton On is a brand that I only came, I remember when he and Kyrgios won the Australian Open doubles title. What was that? 3 years ago now? Is that 3 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. It's been 2 years
Yeah,
since Kyrgios played a match, basically. So, yeah.
exactly. So that's when I first became aware of Cotton On. And as far as I know, he's the only one who wears them. But they always make cute little, like, random things for him. And these shorts are these sort of, like, really nice blue, and they have like all this Greek motifs on them. Like you're just like, okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know what it has to do with the Australian Open, but it looks cool.
Well, I mean, Kokkinakis, Kyrgios, of Greek descent. So, maybe that's what they were going for there. Yeah, I like it. I've liked what he's worn. I think he's an attractive guy too. So I think he looks good. And I mean, his legs are amazing. I'll just say his legs are amazing. And he wears shorter shorts, and the shorts that he's always worn have always been like patterned, and they almost look like boxers on him. So it looks good. Yeah. It's cool. Top's boring, but it works.
That's true. I was just going to say, they always kind of look like a boxer pattern. It's like they're colorful, or they have a lot of design to them. And then it's like a plain top, which I kind of like. I kind of like that idea. Last two, Cam Norrie is now head to toe. I always mess this up. A Babolat or
Babolat.
Babolat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if it's his shoes, but he's definitely now wearing their apparel, which I didn't even know they did apparel. I don't know if this is new.
Well, they've had apparel in that if you went to tenniswarehouse.com, there was a section for Babolat that nobody bought anything from. This is getting closer to the type of top that I said I want to see more of. I like a Henley. That it looks good. It's a little boring. I don't know if he was with K-Swiss before, so I don't know if he's wearing Babolat shoes, but as a fellow Babolat Pure Strike racket player myself, I like the matchy's good.
Yeah, matchy is good. And we will end with Boss. And it's definitely not tan or black or white, which is what they've been putting.
Yeah, they listened to you on one of our last podcasts where you were begging them to do a different color.
I was like, it's either black or it's white or it's tan. And at the time I was kind of like, okay, Hugo Boss, those are kind of, Hugo Boss is a very sort of neutral brand in terms of what they make. So I kind of understood that. But it's tennis. And it's tennis in Australia in the summer. Like, can we do anything else? And I was very scared when I saw Matteo in this sort of tan outfit in like I think it was either a charity thing or maybe the earlier tournaments. I was like, oh guys, no. Mm-hmm. And he showed up on court in this purple, and I was like, well, thank you. It's different. I don't love it, but at least they're moving away from sort of like the neutral.
Yes. Well, there's the Henley that I want.
Yes.
That we've been talking about. And I feel like maybe they saw the purple work for Lecoq Sportif and said, let's do that. Still a lot of in order for it to be Boss gear, there has to be a lot of black on it. So there's still a lot of black accents and stuff. Looks okay on him. I don't love it. Looks terrible on Taylor. And I know Taylor made the switch to Boss because, his girlfriend's a fashionista and he wanted apparel that, he also does like runway modeling and stuff. It looks terrible on him. It's boxy. It's bad on him. Matteo, it's more form fitting. So it's like, it's good, but it's like, it's only good on him. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll never forget because I was at the Indian Wells last year, and I got to sort of be in press and talk to Taylor when just as he announced the switch from Nike to Boss. And I remember asking him, I was like, oh my God, what is the switch like or whatever? And at the time, his response to me was that he was going to Boss because it fits better and they're going to work with his sizing and, the Nike stuff never really fit. And I was like, oh, well, okay. And ever since that interview, everything I've seen him in Boss has just not fit.
Yeah.
What is happening? And I don't, do you think maybe it's just how he likes it? But I'm just like, it doesn't fit Taylor.
I guess maybe, I mean, love Taylor Fritz. Shout out Taylor.
Love Taylor.
But maybe he's got bad taste. I don't know.
Yeah. We love you, Taylor, but could you just fix the fit, please? Because it fits Mateo. So I'm sure it can
different
fit
body
you.
types and everything, but it's just like, it doesn't look good on him.
Yeah. It reminds me of and I don't know how you felt about it, the Jack Draper. Did we talk about it? The Jack Draper kind of like baggy swimming. I'm just like,
I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, that was
too big.
I think. Well, but I think it looked like something you would have seen like Agassi wear, where it was like the larger, oversized polo, and he was wearing like the shorts liners and everything that kind of stuck out underneath the shorts. That was one that like it was like after the U.S. Open, where I was like, that was actually one of the better looks. But I know not everybody feels that way, which is fine.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the sort of the landscape. We've talked about all those brands. Is there anything I missed, by the way, before we?
We're going to touch on Destanee Aiava, who very interesting. She did an interview with, I think maybe Ben Rothenberg. Yes. And you intro it. It's your podcast. Go for it.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead while I pull up the slideshow because this was so awesome.
Yeah. So my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that she is unsponsored. So she is going and finding retro tennis outfits of former players such as Wozniacki, who she wore in the first round. I think she said she has maybe 6 outfits in the can ready to go. She wore 2 or 3 maybe to get through the qualifying rounds, and she's just going to rotate them. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. Are they good outfits? That's up for debate. But respect to going out and finding a 2013 Wozniacki outfit, and some of the other ones that she's dug up. That's it's interesting. It's interesting.
First of all, because these are, Wozniacki 2013. I'm like, where did she find it? And she says all her stuff is from eBay and like places like that. I'm just like, I guess people are just hanging on to this stuff and it's just available if you search hard enough. But I just wanted to bring her up because a lot, we talk about the fashion and all of that stuff. And sometimes it just feels like the athletes are just wearing whatever their brand is like, okay, this is the new shorts and stuff for Australian Open, so put it on. And other than someone like Coco, for example, who, Naomi Osaka as well, that have these sort of like thought processes and are big enough stars and athletes that can, design what they wear. A lot of athletes don't get that personal touch. And to see someone kind of bring that in, what will you feel good, play good? You know what I mean? And she's out here like having a thoughtful conversation with past fashion. And when I first heard about her, which was when I saw her wearing this Maria Sharapova look, I was like, oh, that's cute. And I just thought it was like a one-off. I was like, oh, that's cute. Like, paying homage to like an old sort of like custom Grand Slam dress. Cut to, she's done it 3 times and she has more in the bank. I'm so excited, not only to watch her play tennis because she's a big hitter. I love big hitters and she's like really great tennis player, but just to see what she's wearing. It's going to change every match.
Yeah. That's fun. That is fun. A little bit of an outfit reveal moment, which
Yeah. I just wanted to bring her up because I just thought, what she's doing, love it. Do more of it. I really want her to be on tour more now. I'm like, let's go. Like, do you could you, have a whole year of
God.
changing.
Well, she keeps winning.
Maybe not every, because for the Australian Open, she's changing it every single match, but maybe she does one per tournament.
Yeah.
Although maybe, I don't know how the laundry situation would work with that. Practicalities. Oh my gosh, we have talked so much. So we've looked at everything. What is your favorite and what is your dud?
Going by brand, it's still Wilson until somebody can prove that they can topple that and do something better. Dud, from the ones that we've talked about, who was the biggest swing and miss? I mean, Nike always. I mean, they didn't really swing, but they definitely missed. And so probably them. I definitely, I don't know. Yeah. It's probably Nike. I don't know.
Probably Nike. For me, my win is actually, and I love Wilson, but my win is actually New Balance.
Okay.
If only for the Coco look, because I really love what she did there. I love the thought process behind it and all of that. But I also love the green. I love the blue. And I don't know if we're going to see the blue on court at all, but I just love the entire the colors that they have, the cohesiveness behind everything. New Balance for me is definitely the winner for the Australian Open. And my dud is On because I don't know what's happening.
That's actually probably the better way to go here because they just did nothing. Yeah.
They did nothing. They were like, more tie-dye.
Yeah.
I was like, dip it in another color. Just put yellow in there.
I agree. That's probably right. As much as I love the players that they represent, got to stay up last night and watch Fonseca, which has taken the world by storm. The outfit-wise just didn't do much.
Yeah. We've talked for like an hour. It's definitely a long one. I'm going to release this episode on Tuesday or on Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. What day it is? It's really hard, but I'm going to release this on Thursday for everyone listening. Right now we're recording Tuesday night. The tennis has already started. Are there any matches you're just looking forward to? I mean, some stuff is already over, so we're not making any predictions here, guys. But is there anything you're just looking forward to other than Fonseca tomorrow?
Well, once I returned to the TV, I had Opelka and Mahach on, and I find Mahach to be a really fascinating player. He played Alcaraz very well last year in a 3-setter. I think it was like 7-6, 7-5, 7-5. I think his highs are really high, and I love Opelka, and I just really want the best for him coming back from all of his injuries. So that's the one I have on right now. Looking down the list of matches that I'm looking forward to, I think Jake Fernley is a great story, and I'm excited to see how far he can make it. Let's see. There's a midnight one. Yeah. Draper and Kokkinakis.
I have that one. Yeah.
It was going to be another long night because you also have Casper Ruud playing Jakob Mensik, and Mensik's another one, kind of like a Fonseca, where you're like, it's not an if, it's when are we going to see these players in the top 10 possibly. So that's another exciting one. So it might be a long night. On the women's side, taking a look at everything.
Karolina Muchova, Osaka.
Yeah, that should be. Is that on right now? That's on right now. What are we doing?
Oh, has it started? See, that means we end this podcast now.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one to watch in the earlier hours. I don't know if you want to call it that. I know it's 10 o'clock for you. When Mukova's on, her game is just so amazing. And Osaka's somebody that, she's threatened the idea of retiring. And I just don't want to see that. I love what she brings to the sport. So I'm kind of just always going to be in her corner to hope that she keeps on going. The other match that I'm looking forward to, and I'll throw it out there now. You want to talk about a dark horse? Diana Schneider. She is, I think, 19, maybe 20. Heavy hitter, huge rise last year in the second half of the year. She's playing Alya Tomljanovic, who, she's dealt with a lot of injuries, and she's going to have great support from the Aussie crowd. But watch out for Diana Schneider. I think her draw looks good, and I don't want to say she's a prediction for me for the final or winning, but if she does, I just want to say I'm right. So
you're like, I said it, guy. I said it first. I'm going to clip it.
I did flirt with the idea of a Diana Schneider Australian Open. It's a matter of time before we see her in a quarterfinal, semifinal, and people get a really good look at her at a Grand Slam and say wow, yes, she could be somebody to watch out for. Right? She's maybe just outside of the top 10 or 10, but she's right. She's next too. And I don't I don't know who she plays next, but Eva Jovic is the future for American tennis. Watch every second of that girl that you can. She won the USTA Girls Nationals. She moves like her footwork. She moves like Iga. She stays extremely low to the ground. Her footwork is unbelievable. And after every swing, she returns the racket in a straight up formation, ready for the next shot. It's unlike anybody that I've seen on the tour since maybe she might even be faster than Iga. I don't know. She is unbelievable. So watch that one.
Oh, that's awesome. She plays actually, I think I saw you post about her and I was like, interesting, because I remember watching her during the US Open. She plays Elena Rybakina next.
Yes. Bring that on. Give that to me now. I'm not going to bed until that match is on, even if it's tomorrow. That is great. I think I saw that, but I'm so glad that you said that because it wasn't top of mind, and hell yeah, sign me up.
Well, those are all great picks. I'm probably going to go start watching all of those with you. Ian, thanks for coming on. I always enjoy these chats about the fashion because people care about them. And, it's not just the tennis, but it's, what the players look like as well, what they're wearing on court and how that affects, it doesn't really affect how they play. They play fine. But yeah, I just like talking about the fashion stuff. Thank you for joining. Again, everyone listening, I will leave Ian's Instagram, 40 Love, all of that in the show notes. Follow us on Instagram. We're posting our watch list there. And then I'm doing my little coffee catch-ups, which have been fun. It's just fun to flex that sort of creative muscle a little bit.
Yeah, that stuff's been great. Your little challengers clip too. That was fantastic. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, those are really, really fun. But thank you all for listening, and we will see you on the next episode.
All right, see you.